Welcome back to the Goal2Go podcast, man. Episode 44. Sitting here just after game 2 of the NBA Finals last night, man. Heat took a dub in that one, even up the series. 1-1, heading back to Miami for game 3 on Wednesday, man. Our last episode was before the NBA Finals, so we're going to break down kind of games 1 and 2, talk about what we like, what we didn't like, man. Obviously, Heat got a big dub, hometown team, taking it back to Miami. It was a big dub on the road. What's some of your thoughts through the first 2 games, just general?
I think it's just so far it's been a series of adjustments. We saw Eric Spoelstra kind of bringing Kevin Love, add him to the starting lineup. We saw Jimmy Butler on Murray earlier, finding those matchups, and honestly, down the stretch, the Heat actually hit shots. Like, that was a big thing in Game 1. They had good looks. Strus 0 for 10, 0 for whatever he was from the field.
0 for 10.
Yeah, and then comes in Games 2, hits the first bucket of the just the Heat just looked more comfortable in Game 2. That was what kind of looked obvious to me.
Yeah, Strus coming out, hitting those big couple threes to get the game kind of rolling. Offense, a little momentum is exactly what the Heat needed. For game 1, obviously, between Jamal Murray's shot making and everyone else, Jokic obviously had a big game. But every time the Heat kind of threw a double team, any sort of like blitz pressure, Jokic immediately would find the open man. Even in game 2 when they were doing it, he had some good passes, like cutting Aaron Gordon. I think he had one. So you mentioned adjustments, Kevin Love into the starting lineup. I think that was huge. Added size, rebounding. Aaron Gordon really didn't, I thought, would be a factor more from the perimeter. He hit 2 threes. He was 2 for 2. But other than that, it was just fine. So getting him in that starting lineup,
Yeah.
Caleb Martin off the bench had some good minutes. He had a big shot late in the game in the second half. And honestly, I think the play of Bam and then Gabe Vincent, the 2 biggest things. Obviously, Bam, he has the toughest task, in my opinion, kind of right now in this series, just playing 40 minutes guarding Jokic.
Yeah.
It's like when he's not on the court,
We see Zeller. Like,
Yeah,
that shit is just unplayable, dog. Like,
so it's like Bam's got to play 48 minutes for the Heat to even have a chance. So credit to Bam, and he's getting it done offensively too. He's hitting some mid-range J's, attacking the rim, being aggressive. That's what I like to see. And Jimmy's yet to really get a ball rolling. He got it going late in the second half. I want to ask you, who's your most surprising player so far?
on the Heat or the Nuggets, like,
You could do either
overall,
side overall.
For the Heat, I'm gonna say Duncan Robinson, especially in Game 2. Just the way he's able to like create off of the dribble now. Like, before, it's like Duncan Robinson, like all he was is catch and shoot. Now coming in at the beginning of the fourth quarter, he scored like 8 straight points or something like that. Got an and one, getting to the hoop, creating off the dribble. That's just something we never really seen from Duncan Robinson. But him adding that and expanding his game is like, it works wonders for the Heat, because now you got a secondary ball handler, where someone you can kind of trust with the ball in their hands, and he was making a few good passes too off the dribble. And for the Nuggets, I kind of was expecting more from Michael Porter Jr. I thought he'd be a lot more effective, but I think down the stretch, especially with the Heat going into that zone and kind of taking away all the options from Nikola Jokic and blitzing Jamal Murray, they kind of just took everyone else out the game and were like, what I mentioned, was it like the last podcast or a few episodes ago, like, bro, just let Jokic like just score, bro. Like, Jokic had 41, but the key was he only had like 3 or 4 assists. That's not Jokic's game. So I think, Miami's ability to take away all the role players, especially Michael Porter Jr., who against the Lakers in that Western Conference Finals, he was having big games, stepping up defensively, knocking down shots, but now he's not really getting those open looks because of those adjustments the Heat have made.
Yeah, game 1, Porter dropped 14 points on 13 rebounds. And in game 2, he dropped 5.6 rebounds. And in game 1, he was efficient. Game 2, not so much.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, you see all the memes. Michael Porter catches the ball. He doesn't know pass, but You're just seeing it on the biggest stage in basketball now. And it's kind of shocking. He could be double, triple covered. He's pulling it. It doesn't matter for Porter. I mean, I think, honestly, you mentioned Duncan Robinson. It was definitely, I kind of knew what he had in the bag. He's playing a lot more off the dribble in the postseason than we ever seen. But I think, obviously, Bam. But I'm going to go with Gabe Vincent, man. He dropped 20. Let me see. I got it right here. He dropped 23 last night. The Heat leading scorer in Game 1. I think he dropped 19 as well. Yeah, 19. Gabe Vincent hit some big shots. I'm talking three-pointers, catch and shoot, buzzer running down. Made some big plays. Gave that team that momentum. But obviously that Duncan Robinson 10 points off the bench in the fourth on 4 or 5 shooting. Exactly what the Heat needed. And I'm going to go Bruce Brown on the other side. I mean, anytime the Nuggets have the ball and it's kind of, I don't know, it was a second chance, I think, late in the fourth quarter last game.
Yeah,
he got
like
it.
a little floater.
Yeah. That's something like Bruce Brown has the ball, and I'm thinking, okay, this is great. And then he goes and gets a bucket. He's knocked down some big shots.
Yeah, out of all the role players on the different Nuggets, he's probably been the best so far.
Definitely the most reliable. And that's one thing going back to Miami. Role players kind of better at home, so we're going to see if the Heat kind of keep their foot on that pedal. And they really have to continue to play perfect. I mean, I don't know who was talking about it last night, but in order for the Heat to win, they got to play perfect. They played perfect as a unit. If you get Jimmy, I think he's injured or something's up, man, because I watch him take some, 12, 15-foot jumpers, and he's, kind of, floating it with one hand. And it wasn't until he shot, a maybe 18, 20-foot long two, he actually shot the ball and it went in. So I kind of don't know what's going on with him. If he could turn it up and the rest of these guys just keep playing the way they're playing, I think the Heat are in a good position to at least get one. They'd ideally like to get two, but big win on the road last night. Kind of want to see where it goes from here. Kyle Lowry's been impressive to me too.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention Kyle Lowry. He's giving some good minutes off the bench.
Yeah, especially
in game 1 and 2, he's been decent.
You look at the box score, he had Caleb Martin 9 points, 3 assists, but I think
all his points were timely. They came in big important moments, important points.
I think the Heat were down maybe 9 or 6, something like that. Came off the screen left side. That's his little pocket coming off the screen to the left and just shoots over Nikola. And it just goes in. It's such a tough shot. Made it look effortless. Nothing but net. Kind of a momentum stopper right there.
And then at the end of the game, he was able to draw that foul on KCP, that deep three at the end of the shot clock. Kind of, able to just draw the foul and knock down 3 free throws, which was big for the Heat as well when they were kind of going back and forth trying to hold on to that lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, KCP, that was really a bad foul. You look at it, it was a 30,
very bad
33-footer from
end
the
of
wing.
Shot clock, chucking it up.
A prayer. It's I watched Sports to talk about it. It's that veteran presence Kyle Lowry does so well. Obviously, Kevin Love and him are the 2 championship pedigree players on his team besides UD, who's on the end of the bench. But these 2 guys getting out there, kind of leading them. You even saw Kevin Love miss Gabe Vincent in the corner, and then he went to hug Gabe Vincent. He was like, "I missed you." And then Van Gundy, he was like, "Oh, this is too soft. You're going to go hug him." And Mark Jackson was like, "Nah, I like it." The coach's mind's going at it. I just thought it was funny. But, I mean, dude, Kevin Love hit, I think he was 2 for 8, but he hit some big shots in the first half. I think both of them went in. It was a little sidestep 3, I think one of them was. And
yeah.
Another one was a catch and shoot.
I mean, the Heat have they've been shooting the ball really well. They had a little, mishap in game 1. That's why they lost. But, I mean, in game 2 and throughout the playoffs, I think they're shooting over 50% from 3. And that's pretty much the Heat's bread and butter right now. They're living and dying by the 3. And so far, they've been able to live and thrive off the 3-point shot. They've been able to create, everybody knocking down shots and stuff. So I think game 3, it'll be really interesting to see how Tyler Herro fits into the rotation. I think he definitely comes off the bench, and I'm guessing he maybe plays around like 10 to 12 minutes. I don't think they'll play him that much just because, the rotations and the chemistry you got going on with these guys right now, I think is huge, and you don't really want to take minutes away from that and kind of mess it up. Like, I don't. And he's only going to come in and just add, like, scoring. Like, on defense, like, he'll give you effort, but it's nothing insane. So I think you only see him in, certain spurts when maybe there's kind of a drought for the Heat and they just need a bucket.
See, I was wondering that same question as well. I mean, obviously, I think he's going to come off the bench. I think he might get like that 10, 15-minute mark, kind of like you said. But it's just fitting him in a rotation. Someone's got to go out. Kind of wonder who that is. It might be Haywood Highsmith. Then you're kind of losing a little bit of length and defense off that bench. And then you're pairing Herro with Duncan Robinson. So it's going to be interesting to say. Obviously, Spoelstra, the king of just cooking it up, he's going to find a way to get Tyler Herro, former sixth man of the year, and one of the Heat's franchise players. They shot 48.6% from three last game, 17 for 35. So, obviously, if the three ball's raining, game 1, you could kind of saw it where you're like, all right, if we get Herro back, now it's like, how do you fit him really into this rotation? I mean, you've went 4 rounds of the playoffs almost, and you haven't really had Tyler Herro. So now you're just like, do you keep rolling with this team? Like, how do you keep the team, flowing in the right direction? The chemistry's there. Everyone's clicking. Everyone knows the rotations. How do you do that without just kind of like messing everything up? I think that's what Spoelstra's going to have to figure out in these next 2 days if Herro is cleared. They thought he was going to be good for game 2, but obviously sitting out, waiting for game 3. I like the way the Heat attacked the rim in game 2 more. Saw Jimmy get a late and 1 bucket. Not too many free throws, but you kind of just saw they were playing with more intensity, more aggression.
Yeah.
Caleb Martin attacking off the dribble too.
I mean, the Nuggets don't have a true rim protector, so that's kind of something you wanted to see them take advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, I still want to see attack Jokic more. It's like they don't really attack, man. I don't know if it's the wings on Denver just doing their job, but he don't get to the rack too many times.
Yeah, they do have solid wing defenders. Like Bruce Brown, KCP, Aaron Gordon, those guys are, players that are able to keep up with people on the offensive side. So I think they're going to have to figure out a way to just beat this Miami zone. And I think they're going to have to figure a way to incorporate more players in beating this Miami zone. Because like you said, like Jokic, he had whatever he wanted pretty much once they started running that zone. But, I mean, that's 2 points. And, at the end of the day, they're scoring 2 while the Heat are shooting 3s. Like, who's going to win. So if they can find ways to get Jokic those assist numbers up, because, like, what he feeds off of is when, like you saw in game 1, you bring that extra man, you bring that help, Jokic is going to make the right pass. 9 out of 10 times, it's going to hit the shooter right in his pocket. Easy, wide open bucket. But when you play that zone and you kind of just stick to that area, whereas Jokic, okay, now I'm one-on-one, I'm going to dominate, but he's dominating interior. I think the Nuggets, killed the Heat in terms of points and paint, but the Heat just shot better from deep. They got better ball movement. That ball screen was killing the Nuggets with Jimmy Butler and Bam, or whoever Bam was setting the screen for. The ball handler didn't really matter, yeah. Bam was doing really, really good out that pick roll, and then him kind of doing his best Jokic impersonation, playmaking off of that screen. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think, do the Nuggets, fuck around and, try to match the Heat with the zone? Do they have the players to run that? It'll be really, really interesting in Game 3.
Well, I did see the Nuggets. They ran a really good set coming out against that Heat zone where they kind of overloaded the right side of the court, where they had an open look in the corner. Forget who it was. I'm pretty sure they missed the wide open 3. But they did a good job. They took the man out the corner up to the wing because they overloaded the left side and brought the two top defenders. And Bam staying home in the paint, obviously, which he should, especially with this team. Resulted in an open 3 Wonder if the Nuggets run more sets like that. But you mentioned the points in the paint here. I just had it. Heat at 34, Nuggets 48, so plus 14 in that category. And then the fast break points as well. The Heat just 5 points on the fast break compared to the Nuggets 18. And then points off turnovers, the Heat won that 23-19. So the Heat only had 11 turnovers, the Nuggets 14. I think in game one that was an issue for the Heat, just turning the ball over, resulting in easy baskets. But the missed shots, obviously, Strus 0 for 10, able to turn things around. Caleb Martin didn't really have a scoring, outbreak, kind of reduced his minutes. He knows his role was kind of like smaller. Still hit a big shot late in the game. Kind of give the Heat that momentum they needed. I forget when exactly it was, but it was a ball.
I think it was off that Jimmy missed it and like grabbed his own rebound and then like just kicked it out to Martin in the corner.
He hit the FTC go. Yep.
Jimmy, yeah.
Yeah, and this one he shot one of those BS one hand like floater shot. I don't know what he's doing with that. But the Heat, they shot 20 free throws in game 2 compared to 2 in game 1, and they shot it at 90%. So you shoot the free throw at that clip, get those easy buckets, put yourself in a good position to win, and especially when you got to do everything right against this Nuggets team. Because, even in the fourth quarter when the Heat started getting a lead, it was, okay, Jokic come down, bucket. Jokic come down, bucket. I think it was like either Mark Jackson or Van Gundy. They were like, you got to stop trading buckets and get a stop.
Yeah, I think Mark Jackson has said that, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they did get a stop that possession. Maybe that's when they hit the FTC go. I'm not sure. The Heat, they kept capitalizing. Jokic kept down and scoring. And like you said, they were hitting twos in the fourth, and the Heat were making it rain from deep. So everything's good when that three ball's falling. Everything's not. You kind of see the contrast, game 1 and game 2. You live and die by the three. I think the Heat got into a nice overall mix between attacking and shooting a three. I'm pretty sure they got into that bonus early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Which is huge.
I think it was like 2 quick back-to-back fouls on Jokic, like one offensively, then a quick like frustration foul. KCP had a few fouls early in the fourth, so yeah, they did get in that bonus kind of early.
Yeah, I think it was on a KCP again. I think he fouled Strus coming off the dribble, and it was they called it on the floor, but
on the floor, yeah,
resulted in 2 free throws because they ended up being in the bonus. After watching, games 1 and game 2, I think we both said Heat in 7, right, for our picks.
Yeah.
You sticking to it? What's your opinion on it so far?
Well, I said like I want like Heat in 7 just because the Heat, but I thought like my real pick, I thought Nuggets in 6.
Nuggets
so
in 6.
I mean, this series is pretty much going like how I'd expected. Like, I didn't think it was going to be a sweep or like an easy, like 4 or 5 games. Definitely thought the Heat were capable of getting, one on the road. So, I think Nuggets in 6 is still doable. But, the Heat, if you're a Heat fan and people on the Heat, you got to be feeling great. You just got to win on the road. You're going back to Miami. You have home court advantage now. Like, realistically, you could go up 3-1 if you win both of your home games. So, It should be a really, really interesting series. I think I'm going to stick with Denver in 6 just because, even though the Nuggets did lose, Jokic still impacted the game. I just want to see, kind of like you mentioned, those adjustments coming off that zone. And those role players, I know it's tough because when the Heat, they're running man. And then once they switch to that zone, it's like the shooters go cold. Like, they're not touching the ball because Jokic is just dominating the ball so much. So, seeing how they can get those players involved, Aaron Gordon, that zone takes away the dunker spot. He's kind of like a no-show, you feel me? You mentioned he hit a few nice shots on the perimeter, but, those are wide open. No one's guarding him that far out at the end of the shot clock. So, you got to see those guys step up. Bruce Brown, if he can keep playing well, but I think it's still, at this point, anyone's series, it's up in the air right now.
Yeah, Nuggets first L at home in the playoffs.
I think someone said it was like their first loss at home was like March, bro.
Well, I know it's the first Heat win in Denver since 2016. Jimmy Butler was on the Bulls. UD is the only player on the Heat at that time. I think like Bam was at Kentucky and Tyler Herro was a junior in high school. Like,
Yeah.
that's the last time the Heat ever won in Denver. They talk about the elevation a lot, and I really wasn't too worried about it. You know, the Heat being the best in shape team probably.
Yeah, you know, Pat Riley's gonna make sure they're straight no matter what. They can play any weather, any place, any elevation.
I was watching PG and someone else. I forget who it was. They were talking about it, and they said, you know, it doesn't really throw you off, but the first 5 minutes is probably the worst. So for Tyler Herro to come back in Game 3, I think is a better advantage because they said those first 5 minutes, it's no joke. Like, it doesn't matter what type of shape you're in. Those first 5 minutes, they get to you fast. And so I'm going to be interested to see how, you know, Herro comes back, his what type of shape he's in. He's probably been working out and stuff, considering his hand injury. But, you know, one fall and Tyler Herro, he's going to be worried about his hand the whole time. Should be interesting to see if he could take contact, you know, slaps down. You know, they're going to be going for that ball because that ball security might not be there if he's attacking the rim. A lot of things to watch out for with Herro.
Or you might see him only come in when they run that zone to kind of hide him and protect him on defense and kind of keep him out in those man situations, just so he isn't a liability on defense and they can't really attack him like that.
Well, they usually run that zone to protect Duncan, so if they run him out there with, you know, Duncan and Herro, protect them 2-for-1 kind of. But I like how you mentioned that zone stop the shooters. And, you know, obviously Jokic attacking the middle of the floor opened up, I think, maybe 1 or 2 cuts for Aaron Gordon. But other than that, kind of neutralize those guys. And Spo just does it so well breaking down the game, in-game adjustments. That's what makes him so great of a coach. He knew it. He saw the Nuggets coming back in the second. It had life. I mean, I think they had a 15 – says right here, largest lead was 15 points for the Nuggets. And it never really felt like that. Never let the game get too far away. You know, the Heat trailing by 10 is one of their favorite stats. I think they've won 7 games in the playoffs while trailing by 10. So they know how to play from behind. They know how to get it done. And I think all that credit really goes down to Spo at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think another really key part was kind of just attacking Jamal Murray. And it seemed like in Game 2 on the defensive side of the ball, that's who they kind of focused in, like, taking away because, I mean, in Game 1 they tried to take away Jokic. But, I mean, you found out you just can't take away Jokic either. Scoring or passing, facilitating, playmaking, like, Jokic is going to, at least one of them, he's going to be able to dominate the game. So I think taking away Jamal Murray, you saw Jimmy Butler on him early. They're picking him up now a lot further away from the basket. They're kind of, you know, blitzing him, sending 2 at him at times. So trying to, because like with Jokic, I mean, he's the main person, he's the main problem, but it's, you know, those scoring outbursts from Jamal Murray like we saw in Game 1 and against the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals that can just really deflate and kill a team. Once he gets that 3-ball going and those little turnaround middies, like, he's really, really tough to stop. So if you can kind of, you know, get Jamal Murray before he gets that head of steam going, before he starts feeling that shot, especially at home in Denver, feeding off of the crowd, which I think the Heat did a really, really good job of. And at late, he hit a few big threes, but at that point, it was kind of, you know, too little, too late, kind of got going not soon enough. So I think they continue to attack Jamal Murray and try to, you know, limit Jamal Murray and then just kind of beat Jokic as in like a 5-on-1. Like, yeah, on the offensive side, Jokic is killing us, but it's just Jokic. And then for the Heat, when they get down, we're getting everybody involved. Everyone's getting good looks. Everyone's getting good shots. So I think that's going to be the recipe. But, I mean, obviously the Nuggets are in the NBA Finals for a reason. So I'm sure they'll find a counter. They'll figure out ways, you know, keep running that high pick and roll with Jamal Murray, maybe add some action backdoor to kind of pull back some of those defenders. But I'm sure they'll figure out a way to get Jamal Murray going.
Nah, you mentioned it. I think the whole reason the Heat even – won Game 2 was Jamal Murray. I think he shot under 50% from the field.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he's been super efficient in these playoffs.
You know, he has. He hit a couple big shots early, and then the second and third quarter kind of just fell away. I mean, the second quarter they mounted a huge comeback, but Jamal Murray, him being not as effective or efficient as he has been these playoffs is what gave the Heat the chance. And I mean, he came down with the chance to tie it with the last shot just off the mark. I mean, Heat fans, I know they took a breather. I was waiting for the rebound to make sure it didn't go in. I was like, all right,
make sure the buzzer went off.
Not some Derek White, but yeah, I mean, Jamal Murray, I thought Jimmy could have hit that three there. He took that three before Jamal Murray.
Yeah, it looked like he wanted to take that pull-up midi, but who was it that helped off of Caleb Martin? Kind of stepped in Jimmy's face and
he gave it up, and they got it back, and then not enough time.
I think it was it KCP? It might have been.
Yeah, KCP got burned a couple times off the help, but that one, I mean, I guess they're just gonna live or die by these Heat guys. And another reason the Heat shot the ball so well, I mean, you mentioned those Game 1 open looks, but Game 2. Miscommunication on the defensive end from the Denver Nuggets. I mean, it was early. Strus had that wide open corner three where I think they called a timeout right after. It was just KCP and Michael Porter just like throwing their hands up at each other like,
Yeah, Gabe Vincent had one of those also. They had Duncan Robinson coming off the off-ball screen. I think it was Christian Brown and Michael Porter going with Duncan Robinson. Just left Gabe Vincent wide open in the corner.
That was on the left wing. And then they came back and they ran that same exact action where that same exact play. This time they stayed. Duncan Robinson got a step. That's when he hit that mean mug layup.
On Jeff Green,
Or was it the and one? Regardless.
I think it was the layup,
Yeah,
because on that and one, he attacked Jamal Murray kind of attacking the closeout off the ball fake.
Oh, you're right.
And
it
kind of blew by him.
Yeah. So they came back with that same action where they left Gabe Vincent open. This time, bam, perfect pass. I think it was with him at the top of the key. Hit Duncan, and then Duncan hit a tough layup. One that, I mean, Duncan Robinson, he could make some layups that are uncontested, but there he took contact, absorbed it, got the roll with the little touch. It was huge to see Duncan do that. And then me and Morgan at the end, I mean, it was hilarious for me. How did you see Duncan hooping on the biggest stage there is? But after Game 1, they were asking, like, Jimmy, like, where do you go from here? What do you do? He was like, my daughter's in town. He was like, I'm hitting an escape room tonight. Some of the guys watching Spider-Man. He was like, we're just going to do our thing, come back Game 2. I just think Jimmy's leadership, even though he's not out there putting up the biggest numbers.
I mean, he's still affecting the game. Like 21, 9 assists. Like, he's still playing good basketball. It's just not as efficient as you would like in terms of shooting.
Yeah, it's not as efficient or, I mean, kind of late in the game where I was like, kind of demand the ball. He was just sitting there. The ball ended up getting to him, and I think that's when he hit that and one kind of float layup. But I want him to be more aggressive. Like, this is, my team. Give me the rock. At least in some situations, if it's not all the way there. But, I mean, Gabe Vincent, if he could just continue this streak he's got going, and bam, I mean, it puts the Heat, I think, in a great chance to win a couple at home. The three's got to keep falling, obviously. Might not have as great as game you did, but when you get those open looks, you got to make sure to knock those down because in Game 1, I mean, the whole reason they stood no chance was those just wide open shots just being missed.
Yeah, and I think, Tyler Herro coming back will also help on offense. I mean, that's an elite three-point shooter, 6th man of the year, 20 points per game. So I think it'll definitely help on the offensive side of the ball to kind of continue that spark and that hot shooting.
Yeah. I'm gonna be interested to see if, maybe, I don't know, Haysmith only played 6 minutes last game. Zeller only 8. Duncan had 17, but first half, Duncan, he was getting locked up. Like, he was coming off, like, screens, running around, and they were just jumping the passing lane every time on Duncan. It almost looked like he wouldn't check back in. He did in the fourth, had that big spurt. So you never know which one of these guys can really give you a boost to life. But I just think these rotations are just going to be, how do you keep it in line, man?
Honestly, I think realistically, Spoelstra might just, play it by ear, like in real time. Because, if Herro's available, like in Game 1, Caleb Martin and Strus kind of weren't having it. So I mean, you could either one of those guys probably max Strus because you want Caleb Martin out there for defense at least for the size. So maybe Strus, and then kind of like you mentioned in the first half, Duncan Robinson wasn't getting it going. Maybe you sub in Tyler Herro for him. I think Lowry gives you very valuable minutes, but maybe you can see him play a little less because, like you mentioned, I mean, at times he's a very, very important leader out there, but he does make some questionable plays at times, some costly turnovers. So maybe you kind of cut that down. But I think realistically, I think it'll be playing by ear. See kind of out of the guys in the main rotation who doesn't have it going that night or who kind of needs to come out of the game, who's that mismatch, where they can't really find their shot. I don't think, as bad as Cody Zeller was, you still need him out there for at least 8 minutes just to be a body on Jokic. Like,
just give Bam a rest.
Because Bam, 40 minutes is a lot, but you don't want him playing 48 like the entire game. Kevin Love, I think he continues to get some minutes just because of that size. He's a pretty small team, so I think those guys' minutes are kind of set. Haywood Highsmith, like you mentioned, he probably can get pushed.
He might not see the rotation anymore.
Yeah, if Tyler Herro come back like he was before, like healthy Tyler Herro, one of the best, I think he had the best free throw shooting percentage in the league this year, so that's really important. An elite shooter offensively, he's way ahead of Haywood Highsmith, so I think you would just rock with that.
Highsmith's been knocking him down at a pretty good clip. At least I don't think he took many shots in game 2, but he didn't have that many minutes. He's shooting 70% from the field, 50% from 3. He probably just took he only took 2 threes. But yeah, I think kind of where you initiate Herro into that off to the team, not just the offense, it's probably those lack of Jimmy minutes, starting the second quarter where he gets a rest. Yeah. You mentioned ball handler, a guy that can go out and score.
Yeah, see how healthy that hand's feeling.
Yeah, hopefully healthy enough to, go out and give him 15 off the bench. That'd be huge. You just gotta hope. Honestly, this whole series, cutting it down to little nits and grits. It's Bam. It's Bam. He's played the best basketball of his life these past 2 games.
Yes.
And if he continues to keep doing this, man, the Heat are in a great position.
He's finally hitting that little midi at the free throw line of the elbow, where before he always takes it and you're like, bro, like this shit is just not going in. Now he's hitting it consistently, and I think that's really, really helping his game.
Yeah, it's like those little pull-ups. And I don't know if it's the fact that Jokic is guarding him because he knows he's like, yeah, he could put a hand in my face, but is he really going to go block this? He's like, let me just shoot it over him. I know. Let me just find it.
And it's a lot of the times if he catches it at the top of the key, bro, Jokic is usually nowhere near him. Jokic is down in the paint. So there's been times where Bam's dribbles the ball 2 or 3 times and pulls up and still has an open jumper just because Jokic is kind of slow to come up and he doesn't want to play that high on defense because he wants to be able to sit down under the rim and grab those rebounds to initiate the break. So the shot's been there for Bam. He's been knocking them down.
Yeah, especially the ones he just dribbles up and he's going across the middle, side to side, baseline to baseline. And then just being able to shoot over him and just, with all that confidence, I think it gives the rest of the guys a boost. Jimmy hasn't been there. Bam's been that number 2 guy when it usually is Tyler Herro. Now you get Herro back. We'll see what they're kind of made out of with that roster. But, if Strus and Duncan, they hit their threes, Gabe Vincent plays his role. Kevin Love, I think, after the Celtics series, I kind of thought it was, dead in the water for Kevin Love. He probably won't touch the court. But really key piece, last night's ball game, I saw a meme. It was Kevin Love, a tenth of the second after grabbing a rebound. It's him some dude throwing a 90-yard ball, just airing it out.
Yeah.
Which, I think he threw one and got a clear path. It was Bam and Jokic. Jokic is just out there, in the DB realm. We back turn, it'd be flag on the play. he
Not
just kind of
playing
had
the
them
ball.
there. They check dummy on the play, so. Kevin Love, just valuable minutes. Eric Spoelstra, once again, masterclass inserting him in that lineup and really taking away Aaron Gordon, who, if he doesn't have that first quarter, he had 12 points last game. If he didn't have that first quarter, he had 16 in the last game. But I think 14 or 12 of them were all in the first quarter with, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, and they were the easiest buckets of his career. So it's going to be interesting to see. I also did see him say, he's going to tell his, grandkids about this when he's 70, 80, sitting on the couch locking everybody up. I didn't really see him lock up anybody. Maybe in the other series he was talking about LeBron, KD, whatever. I don't know. But Aaron Gordon was out there. He just looked like he was kind of running around. So I don't know who he was guarding. But just if they can keep attacking KCP, I mean, he's an average defender, but he just makes boneheaded plays sometimes. And you saw it in game 2. You keep attacking him, get into that bonus early like they did. Huge advantage for the Heat. At home, get that crowd going. You said something way earlier, and I finally just remembered the train of thought. The Denver home crowd in that first quarter, I mean, they were so loud. I was like, I've never heard a crowd this loud on live TV. I don't know if they turned the little sound mics up on the broadcast, what was going on, but it was loud. I'm like, bro, the Heat need a silencer. They didn't even, I think they might have gotten it, but that Denver home crowd is no joke. I mean, Nuggets fans really, really came out, and it's clearly has an effect on the game.
Yeah,
so
we know about that Miami home crowd. They're a second half crowd, right?
They are a second half crowd, usually in the regular, but it's playoff basketball. The game doesn't start till 8:30, so they're actually somewhat on time. I remember the first playoff game I went to was the Heat Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't start showing up until the second quarter, but when they played the Knicks, I think was it I don't even know what series. No, it was the Celtics. I think I went to. Yeah, it was the Celtics game 3. I think that game started at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was relatively there on time. So it's the earlier the start for the Miamis,
okay.
The regular season game, just you could go down and sit there the whole first half. No one would question you. You're in my seat. But Heat fans are notorious for being late, man. The Miami culture, the city life, and plus, I mean, sometimes just not avoiding the traffic. Bro, it's the worst, man. If you're ever in a game for Miami.
Yeah, the Miami traffic can get kind of crazy.
Stay near the arena, or if you're staying far enough, man, take that Bright Line, bro. The best invention they ever had was the train system. I mean, shout out to whoever it was back in the day, because forget driving to a Heat game, man. Take that Bright Line and get you there 50 minutes from where we are. So, honestly, greatest thing. But the Heat fans are going to be there on time. I really hope they are, considering I think tickets going for at least the same seats I was sitting, 1,100, 12, 1,300. Probably more after that win last night. They're probably just skyrocketing.
The prices are gonna keep going up and up, bro.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're not there for the full duration of that game, bro, you're just wasting your own money at that point, bro.
For real.
At least let someone else go out there and scream it.
But then again, if you have money for those tickets, I'm pretty sure you're not too worried about it.
That is also true, bro. Because I'm gonna take a look at it, but let's see SeatGeek real quick. I know I saw someone, they cashed out their futures bet for a Nuggets game 1 ticket. I was like, bro, that's not a bad idea. I mean, you got the little bread for it from the little futures bet. I think it was relying on the Nuggets. Nuggets, obviously, NBA Finals win, which, I mean, they're the favorites. They could end up winning. But regardless, I was like, you sell the ticket, get to go to game 1. That fan saw a dub in their favor. It's a one-on-one experience, man, a playoff game. Let me tell you that. All right. So, Yeah, they're going for all right. None. I mean, still crazy. They're going for about what they were last week. A band. If you want the 50, if you want mid-court 2,500, court side 27, something light. But yeah, them Miami fans, they better be on time, bro. Uh, that's all I ask for. Just be there, screaming. They're gonna have that Peppers playing down there in Miami. They always get it jumping pregame. Let's see. If the Nuggets, when Tyler Herro comes on the court, they're gonna be attacking him. You kind of mentioned that, putting him in the zone to protect him, but I mean, you can still attack. We'll see if they try to get any. Wouldn't want to say cheap shots, but they're aggressive, more physical with Herro, kind of just banging them up. Really hasn't been around the game too much. See where that level of physicality is for Herro.
A report just came out that said Tyler Herro doesn't want to come back and mess up the rhythm of the Miami Heat.
I mean, that's a fact, bro. I think everyone knows that. Like, you just come back. I mean, yeah, Tyler Herro, you're a great player, but these guys are just finding ways to win in the weirdest ways possible. Like, no one, this 8 seed Miami Heat team, like, bunch of dudes. I always see a bunch of Miami Heat pages. Shout out to them. If I don't know which one it is, but they're like, having the best player in the world, a well-centered and well-balanced offense that can do anything. And then it just shows a picture of Miami Heat, and it's like the power of friendship. Like, they just run out of the court. It's not basketball. It's just trusting guys. Like, it really is another level. Even 1-1 Miami Heat fan here, that's me. I couldn't be any happier with the way, you get one in Denver. I thought it'd be game 1 the other way around, but who cares at the end of the day? You got one. Big momentum.
Did you think game 2 was a must-win for the Heat?
Game 2?
Yeah.
So I was sitting there, and I'm like, game 2, must win. But then, everyone's posting, like, these Heat throwbacks, like, 06 Miami Heat, like, going down 2-0 against the Mavs. D-Wade, they were down, like, I think big in the game 3. And Pat Riley was like, is this going to be it? He came into the huddle. He was like, guys. He's like, you guys going to let this? D-Wade said, nah. He's like, this ain't it. He's like, give me the rock. And he went crazy in game 3. They closed that one out. They tried to alley-oop it in for the game winner. D-Wade tipped it. Obviously, rest is history. First Miami Heat championship in franchise history. Even against the Thunder, when the Heat, obviously LeBron, CB, D-Wade, way more talented team.
Yeah.
Way deeper. They went out and dropped game 1. And, after the Mavericks series, obviously, it was like the Thunder, you're not taking them lightly because the Mavericks weren't supposed to be in that situation. They won and beat Miami in 2012. Or 2011. In 2012, they dropped that first game to OKC, and I was like, it's a little shaky. Like, maybe game 2 is a must-win, and they went on to gentlemen sweep them after dropping the first. So, game 2 was really a must-win in my head. I was thinking there's still a chance. I never give up. But just being able to get it on the front end in Denver, now you get confidence going into, later games in the series. When you get there and you go to Denver, you're like, we beat them here before already. Who says we can't do it a second time? Like,
yeah,
it just gives your team that confidence.
Miami's been good on the road this year in the playoffs as well. So
they've been great. I mean, they took the first 2 from Boston on the road. And I think they closed out in New York.
No, I think they closed out in Miami.
You're right. Yeah, it was game 6 in Miami. You're right. But some big wins on the road shows that they're capable of winning, the biggest stage.
They got one in Milwaukee. They get 1 or 2 in Milwaukee.
I think they split at first. I think they closed the series out in Milwaukee because they had that late game where Jimmy hit the one-handed shot to go to OT on the oop.
Mm-hmm.
That was in Milwaukee again.
Wait, Jimmy's 56 wasn't in the closeout?
Nah, Jimmy's 56 was game 3 or game 4. Game 4 in Miami.
Yeah.
So that went up 3-1.
And they closed it at game 5, right? Because they beat the Bucks in 5. I'm pretty sure.
If it was, and then they closed it out with that overtime win in Milwaukee. So they went 2-1 in Milwaukee. I think they got 1 in New York.
Yeah.
So clearly proven to win on the road. The Nuggets, obviously, much better team, much deeper team, better coached, I would say, as well, with Mike Malone. He's obviously great coach in his sense.
And realistically, it just comes down to Nikola Jokic, like the best player in the league right now. Like, they haven't faced anyone like this.
Oh, yeah. Are you saying it, like, comes down to Jokic to win it or lose it? Is that what you're – or are you just saying, like, they have the best player on the planet? Like,
well, no, you were just, like, talking about, like, the Heat, like, closing the games out and stuff like that. And I'm just saying, like, the Heat, like, this is, like, their toughest challenge. I don't think they haven't faced a player.
Yeah. I mean, you could say Giannis, but he was hurt.
Right,
Giannis was hurt.
Well, yeah, and like, realistically, like, even if Giannis was fully healthy right now, like, I'm taking Nikola Jokic over him the way he's playing. You know, Giannis, he does a lot of good stuff. He's super dominant in the paint and on defense, but it's just, you know, the way Nikola Jokic on offense attacks every single aspect and level of the game. When he's at his peak, when he's playing his best, he's scoring on you, he's passing the ball, he's facilitating playmaking at an elite level, he's grabbing rebounds, he's starting the breaks. It's just Nikola Jokic just affects the game way more than I think Giannis does. So I would definitely take Jokic right now over Giannis, even if he was fully healthy.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a conversation. I think he's the best player. I'd take Jokic over Giannis right now, too. I mean,
and he can hit a shot, like the 3-ball, too. Jokic, he can kind of extend the court where he can score on any level, whereas Giannis, he's more of just attacking the rim, a midi here and there, but you don't really see Giannis knocking down threes consistently like Jokic is.
Nah, he had a wide open 3, and, like, Bam was in the paint. And Jokic, like, hesitated. I was like, this is going in way. Like, he's no stopping it. I think that he also forced the Nuggets to kind of take some bad threes. I mean, you know, Jamal Murray, even though he's a great three-point shooter, he was, you know, 5 feet behind the line taking a chuck-up 3. Even though he was open, I mean, you're going to have to live or die by it. I think Jamal Murray is the X factor when it comes for Denver.
100%.
He can limit him 6 for 15 like he did game 2, puts him in position to win for sure. Hopefully Jimmy could turn it up. You could get one of those 56-point performances. But you're not hoping for it. I mean, you're hoping for it, but it's not something you're leaning on. You just hope those other guys just keep doing what they're doing, man, because at the end of the day, it's a team game, and these guys got the power of friendship. So hopefully they keep it rolling.
You mentioned Jamal Murray. Like, if the Nuggets win, and Jokic is gonna have the numbers, he'll win Finals MVP. Like, he'll do all the stuff Jokic does. But you mentioned Jamal Murray. Like, you saw the difference. Game 1 and Game 2 is night and day. Like, the Nuggets go as Jamal Murray goes, because you're gonna need more than just Jokic to beat a team in the finals. And Jamal Murray can definitely give you more, and definitely give you enough to kind of go over that hump. But if you do like what Eric Spoelstra did in that defense, kind of, you know, taking Jamal Murray away early, it makes it tough. Whereas Jokic is just out there by himself, man, looking like 2018 LeBron out there.
Nah, dude. I mean, he touched the ball and I'm like, shit, just get it out of his hand, like, and then all of a sudden it'd be someone wide open, and Jokic just throws it like some crazy pass, and you're just like, dude, like,
no, yeah,
chill out.
Down the stretch when they were running that zone and the Jokic caught the ball like at the free throw line or in the paint, it's like, bro, you might as well just give the Nuggets 2 points and just inbound the ball, bro. Like, don't even make him shoot it. It's just going in, bro.
Just let everyone else sit on the perimeter, stop the 3, just give them that 2.
No, bro, like down the stretch, I think it was one play at the end where it was like Gabe Vincent was like on him, and like, bro, everyone else on the Heat was just standing around. No one went to help Gabe. No one went to go help Gabe Vincent or anything, because they knew, like, it was like, it's just going in, bro. Like, there's no need to try to send two and let him pass out for an easy three or let someone else get going. It's just like they're just watching Gabe Vincent just get destroyed in the paint. It's like, well, it's gonna be 2 points regardless. Like, all right, we'll just go down and hit a three. It's whatever.
Yeah, I think Gabe Vincent forced him like to the inside part of the court. I think I remember, instead of
it was like under a minute left or whatever.
Yeah, because he didn't want him going. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
bro.
Bam was just standing there. Bam was like, all right, you got that, bro.
I'm not fouling it.
Yeah.
Giving him an and one. Like,
so you just give him the two, bro. We can live with it.
But hey, it's going to be an interesting series, man. I'm excited. I'm pretty sure everyone's excited. Got to wait an extra 2 days because it's the NBA Finals, man, to get extra rest and shit. Hopefully it works out in the Heat's favor, man. Get these guys back and rested. Game 3, is it? I mean, every game's a must-win, but like, is it a must-win for the Heat?
I mean, considering they stole one in Denver, I think Game 3 is gonna be a lot more of like a free-flowing game because it's basically 0-0 at this point. Both teams have one game, so I think no team is really gonna be playing with super a lot of pressure. I think it'll be a pretty relaxed, free-flowing game.
Yeah, Kevin Love said it. He said it's a best of 5 now. He said we don't care. He's like, it's a best of 5. So you think it's gonna be more free? I think this game is gonna be a lot more physical. I think this game is gonna be not won by that 3-point shooting. I think it's gonna be attacking the rim. It's who's getting to the line. I don't think the shots are gonna be falling as much as they were in Game 2. I think it's going to be one, points in the paint, attacking the rim, inside the arc, who's at the line the most.
Well, if that's the case, you might as well just give it to the Nuggets because so far they've killed the Heat in all of those categories.
They have. So, you get the Heat to be more aggressive. I mean, sure, you're going to have to knock down shots, but I don't think it's going to be like a barrage of threes like it was in Game 2.
I mean, I feel like if I'm the Heat, bro, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, this whole playoff series, you've gotten here from the 3-point shot with guys like Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent being able to be, elite 3-point shooters. I think they just keep chucking them up, bro.
I mean, you're still going to keep, but I honestly don't think they're going to be free flowing.
The Heat don't need a win in the paint. They just won Game 2 without beating the Nuggets in the paint. Like that, I feel like that favors the Nuggets.
I'm saying like the Nuggets they're not just going to let them shoot these open threes or like the Heat. They're gonna make adjustments. Mike Malone's gonna make adjustments.
I don't know. It was their Game 1 and 2. Like,
well, yeah, you fool me once, okay. You fool me twice. Now 3 times, bro. Like it's different. So I don't think they're going for it. I think the Heat.
Or I feel like Spoelstra should figure out different ways to create 3-point shots. I don't think you should try to go away from the 3-point shot.
I'm not saying go away. I'm just saying like it's gonna be one and get into the line. This is a Jimmy type game, man. Like Jimmy and Bam getting it done.
No, I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying if that's the case.
I'm not saying like, oh, you see an open 3, don't pass it to him.
I'm just saying like I'm looking at in terms of like a Heat fan or like somebody supporting the Heat, bro. But like if I'm a Nuggets fan or I think that's how the game's gonna go, like I want it to go like that because I think the Nuggets are gonna be a better team. They're way more physical. They have a lot more length, a lot more size. So I don't think the Heat can be out physical the Denver Nuggets. I don't think that is going to happen. I think the Heat have to continue to play really good defense, the best defense they've been playing this entire playoff run, like we saw in Game 2, and they got to shoot the ball at an elite level. I think that's going to be the recipe for success for the Miami Heat. I don't think you want to go into a fucking paint war with Nikola Jokic. You're not going to win that shit.
I don't think they want. I think the Nuggets are just going to force us to like. And the Heat are going to have to take advantage and get some easy buckets, slow the pace down, and just score. I mean, they got to make an adjustment, bro. There's just no way they're leaving, every shooter. Like, they were open. Like, these weren't just
I don't think the Nuggets, they were, because all of the open stuff, all the open shots and stuff just look like off of miscommunication and just bad reads, like mistakes. So, like, you don't have to adjust. You just got to play better. Like, you have to execute better. So I don't think the Nuggets are going into Game 3 with a completely different game plan. Like, bro, they only lost by fucking 3 points at home the way they were playing. Like, it's just, I think the Nuggets, if they just capitalize and make less mental errors. Like, you don't have two people running with Duncan Robinson on a cut to the basket. It'll be okay.
They didn't need two people to guard Duncan Robinson cut to the basket these days, though.
Well, then again, you go into the analytics. Would you rather have Duncan Robinson attempting a 2-point layup or Gabe Vincent shooting a wide open three? Three's always going to be better than two. So,
yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. All right, that game 3 Wednesday night, man, 8:30. So the Heat fans should be promptly on time, man. Regardless, great series so far. Hopefully, continue to get some great basketball here through June. Any last takeaways, thoughts?
no, fun series, good basketball on both sides.
Fun series indeed, man. Miami Heat basketball, they get it back in Miami for game 3. So, we got game 3, game 4, which is that a Friday? They playing that Friday. I think they do a quick turnaround. Trying to see next time we'll be back with another episode. But while we wait for me to pull up TikTok, Goal2Go Pod, man, like, comment, share, do all that. YouTube, Goal2Go. Like, comment, subscribe. So, game 4 Friday, game 5 Monday. So, we'll be game 3, game 4, and game 5. Probably all conclude. And then after game 5, we'll do an episode before game 6 and 7, which game 6 is Thursday in Miami. Obviously, the 2-2, 1-1-1 format the NBA does now. So somebody's going to be leading this series. Somebody's going to be down. And all you can hope is it's not a 4-1 after game 5, I guess. But back at home, Miami Heat, man, should be rocking. Until then, man, Goal2Go, episode 44. Appreciate everyone tuning in, man. Peace.